I'm pretty sure now my audio is working. I wanted to make sure since that had been an issue over the last few weeks. Welcome everybody back to it's Wednesday, oh my god. A Wednesday evening here on the Dotlight. Clearly I know what's going on. It's not been a long week. It doesn't feel like a Friday. But yes, I am so excited to be back. We had an interesting end to last week's episode, one that was just like both heartwarming and heart-wrenching in its own kind of rightful way. So we are down a player tonight, unfortunately. The great Futuristical flu has taken Bob for this week, but I've got some plans. But first, let's go around and very quickly meet our crew that is with us tonight, and we'll start with Victoria.
Hi, I'm Victoria, and I'm going to be playing Caspia, who's a Benthosa, which is a sentient body of water who lives in a metallic pink android suit. I guess I am the leader of this little squad, and I'm the pilot. It's my ship, Trader Joe's.
That's right, Trader Joe's, the great vessel. Like I said, unfortunately, Cicero will not be joining us tonight, but in place we've put up the incredible art of Bob, so that at least you know when we speak of Bob, who we are talking about. Moving right on down the line to Gnome.
Hi, I'm Gnome, and I'm going to be playing Chim, a 7-foot-tall Pantheros in a 2-foot-tall Throggafel's body. I am a merc. I hit things.
It's true, and you got to hit a lot of things last week.
I crushed it, like
literally.
I mean, between Fermal and Chim,
yep. And Chim,
it was just like two bros having the best football game of their life, and it was dope.
Well, we'll recap. It's interesting. I actually, you know what? While we're talking about Chim, I have to know: is this the first time Chim has actually killed someone? I mean, like, you've been a student, so this is definitely not the first time.
I feel like Chim has, because of his size, has been the cause of a lot of accidental turmoil from the Throggafel.
I see.
And that's why they were very eager and excited to pass him off to the school.
I see. Okay, that makes a lot of sense. Okay. And of course to our good boy, both as Marcus and as Pierce, that would never hurt a fly. How are you, Marcus?
I am good. Hi, my name is Marcus, or Best Kind of Worst on Twitter. I am playing Pierce, a little Dr. Boy cactus with big old glasses and maybe not a heart. I don't know if herbaceans have hearts per se, but they have some kind of green stuff, maybe made of chlorophyll and
some chlorophyll organs.
It's definitely one. I should have been a San Pedro cactus. That's what I should have been. I should have been a drug mescaline cactus. Anyway. That would have been medics. Anyway, that's that would have been a very
different campaign. Yeah.
Hey guys, what's up? I'm Pierce. Let's go.
Yeah. That's actually your cousin, the one the family doesn't talk about.
Spike. His name would be Spike.
Spike and Pierce. Oh, this is too good. Well. Welcome everybody, I'm Dot. Clearly we're already in full-on laughs and giggles, which I have to be honest, I really need today. So I'm like I said, I'm so glad to be here. Last week was a really interesting one, if you can hear in the background the creepy, scary music that we left off with. The crew has managed to make friends with the Galactic Princess, learning a little bit more about her in their travels. Unfortunately, being the Galactic Princess, what did we call it? A spacegram? Is that what we called it? Spacegram? As she posted to Spacegram Live, she drew a lot of attention, some unwarranted. And it looks like while she was taking a proper beauty nap, as space princesses do, somebody pinged her data pad and began tracking the ship. with smart thinking, Bob smashed it and informed the crew. A decision was made to land at a nearby station, one that is kind of like a security station. They received clearance, and after landing, hoping that this would be, thanks, Sunmaid, that this would be the right move, at least for safety's sake. Unfortunately, it looks like something else was already here when they arrived, in which both Bob and Chim made very, very quick work of. But unfortunately, it wasn't their work. It was somebody else's. Of course, all teens trying to graduate from future academia are in fact required to finish a final. And Bob and Chim did extra credit and finished somebody else's. By accident, but nonetheless. And Queen Bee herself, Jinx, and her crew arrived just in time to watch them put the final touches on whatever strange humans were aboard this security station. And I want to think we left taking off, and the princess was telling a story. One about herself, where she revealed that, about herself. One where she revealed that she grew up under much watch because she was a special princess. One that had powers that her people had not seen in many generations, and she was valued for them. She didn't alert to exactly what they were, but she's given some hints here and there. And she said she doesn't know how to end her story because she doesn't know how it ends. And I want to think to be continued were the words that popped up on the screen as the great Trader Joe takes off, leaving this unwarranted security station behind. You are about halfway there, good news, to this, to your final destination, of course. And I'm going to have Caspia make a pilot check because we're traveling. We are in space again.
Right. Okay, so...
So this is just a standard flying of the ship. It doesn't look like there's... Now, if you would like to plot a course, I'm guessing you can. You're welcome to.
Do a kickflip.
Yeah.
I would like to plot a course to the... We have to take a roundabout way to get there. We haven't really discussed this, right? Yeah, I think I would like to look in the system to see where a strange, out-of-the-way pit stop could be.
Okay. Oh, interesting. Okay, so this is going to be... Okay, the ship is sentient, correct? Am I making that up?
Organic.
It's organic, not sentient. I do that every time.
If you want to make it sentient, all of a sudden,
okay. I just want to make sure because it's a different role if the ship is partially sentient. Okay, no. So this is just going to be a flight while you're charting like a most effective course or safest course, which is technically the brains for the plotting and the flight for the piloting. So it's actually two roles I'm going to have you make.
All right, brains are. I'm just seeing if I have anything that will help me with brains, but no. I just have my basic brains. So there's my brains.
There's my brains on the screen. Okay.
And then here's my flight.
Okay. Caspia's feeling good. A little firefight, maybe put some pep in her step because those are both very good rolls. So the flight is smooth, probably the smoothest it's been since you all took off. And you head out. As you begin to chart a course, you work kind of in tandem with the system aboard this vessel. And there are a few options. There is, of course, the slingshot, which will literally slingshot you across the system to the other side, much faster. There is a cost that is incurred, though there's a student discount. And... because why wouldn't there be? And or the other option would be to hit the next do light travel to the next kind of set of planetary systems, and the next system is actually going to be the one that includes Pierce's home planet. which is a moon that encompasses a water planet, and the moon is covered almost entirely in plant life.
Plant moon.
I think we're gonna stop there.
Okay.
So we'll take like a, circuitous route to our
Okay.
destination to kind of throw them off.
Okay, great. I would say that I'm gonna assume, based on previous interactions, that Bob is a bit enamored with the princess and is probably watching her very closely.
Yeah, we sent him to be guard at her door.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And he very easily follows this. She seems a bit tired, maybe, after telling of the story, or maybe just vulnerable and raw. You're unsure. But she takes to the bunking chamber once again alone. And you plot a course to, I want to make sure I get this right, because it's called your planet is called, I wrote this down, Herbexon.
Herbexon, that's what it was.
Herbexon. Herbexon is the moon that encompasses actually the water planet Benthosa, where most of the Benthosians gain their sentience from. It's mostly a water planet. And then there's this nice lush moon. It is this strange green color as you come in close to it. You can see out of the port windows on the vessel, and it almost shimmers. You can see the ozone, or the ozone layer around it, which is pure and clean. It's unlike most planets that you're gonna see within this collection here in the Beta Nebula system. So as you draw ever closer, you begin to make out small kind of craters and places like that, all of which have a greenish hue to them. I would say, Pierce, obviously it's your home planet. You would know that the planet is as lush and as green as it is because it survives off of a water supply at the core of the planet.
Okay, so Pierce is kind of looking out. I'm assuming there's a space window on this spaceship.
Yeah, porthole.
Pierce is looking out the window, and over, I guess, probably some kind of comm, messages Caspia, and she's like, "Hey, what are we doing at my home planet? Are we good? What's happening?"
I give him an image of a hug, be like, "It's okay, we're good, it's fine." And then
Pierce just makes those sounds.
You feel warm and hugged though, and then I back off because that's not going well. And then you just see sorry, and someone bowing at you, and then it changes to a person who has glasses on with the fake nose and a mustache and a trench coat, and they're doing the tippy and hiding behind things, and then you see the spaceship kind of zapping around.
Okay. Oh, okay. As long as we don't have to land, we should be pretty good. Thank you for the information. And sirens are happening in my actual life.
not just in Pierce's head.
Thank you. Comms off. Pierce just kind of looks out the window, just goes.
When was the last time Pierce has come home?
Well, it's not so much a home if you are told to not come back again. So. Pierce. So probably since he joined the academy.
Okay, so since you joined the academy, it's been a bit. Okay. All right. The ship begins to draw ever closer. This kind of oversized moon becomes harder to see in its totality. Oh, this is where it gets fun. There's a strange rustle as the vessel, shifts a little bit. Immediately, red lights start flashing on the dash. Caspia. Somebody has taken a shot at the vessel.
Oh no.
What?
Okay. Evasive maneuvers.
Yes, evasive maneuvers. All right, so this is going to be Dodging, deflecting, or taking a hit from an enemy ship. So this is actually the first time we're going to get to use the ship's character sheet. The ship sheet. Say that.
Ship sheet.
5 times fast. So let's take a peek here. So dodging, deflecting, or taking a hit from an enemy ship. The pilot's flight. This is considered a snap decision. Plus the ship's shield die, which I believe our shields went up to a D6. Ooh. So you get to roll both.
Okay, so sorry, please walk me through that again.
Of course. You're going to make your flight roll, and then you're going to get to add an additional D6, which you may have to roll manually, because that would be the shields of the vessel.
All right, I shall do that. I don't have a big enough screen to do too many things. All right, here we go. Flight, so I get +2 because I'm a hot shot pilot.
Heck yeah, hot shot pilot. There's a beep boop boop boop. Nicely done.
I didn't even see it yet because everything's blocked.
That's a 19.
And then I'm just gonna roll a d6. It's my brawn, but it's just a d6.
Okay, great. Wow. Okay. Yeah. No. There's a rustle to the vessel. The caution lights start like going off in a circular motion on the interior of the ship. But very quickly, if you're not hanging on to something, that's a good question. Are you hanging on to something? Well, there are 4 people in this ship. Are you buckled in, or were you guys in your own cabins?
Probably out and about doing stuff. So
Yeah,
I don't know.
definitely.
What can I just grab on and hold on to?
Yeah. Totally. This
Oh,
is.
big
I'm just
boy.
gonna have you make a. This is a flight check technically. I know that sounds silly, but that is technically what it is. We've got 2 other people that need to make a similar check. The flight check to hang on to something or to grab hold of something in a quick way.
That's a 4.
That's a 5.
Oh, the princess for the win. Okay. So, this is great. Both of you are jostled pretty heavily as you're like smashed against something. Even if you grab for a railing or a thing, or something on the counter, you end up breaking it off because the ship does a quick dive to the left, in an evasive maneuver that you know to be only capable of through a pilot such as Caspia. And the vessel kind of does a flip before it rights itself once again. There is going to be another shot fired, but I'm going to let all of you take action. So how would you like to proceed? It's very clear you are under attack.
Well, I hit the red alert button immediately, and now there's red lights, like the one behind Gnome there. Very well done. It's almost like you're doing a lot of space things.
What?
It's almost like there's a lot of space. You're right.
Oh, God, I love it so much.
Okay, yeah, lights are, and then there's like a siren, and it's a really obnoxious siren too.
Yeah, okay, great.
Yeah, because it's got to be loud enough so that when I'm in my water state, I can feel the vibration
Oh, no.
in the ship. So it's loud.
Well, if you're gonna feel
Spacey.
vibrations in water, it's actually better for it to be a low tone than a high tone,
Yeah.
which pings off of things. So I imagine
it'll be
it's
a low
more like a
rumble.
foghorn, like instead of like an alarm, it's definitely like a foghorn. It goes off in the ship. You hear a squeal down the hallway from the princess who just had her wheel stand on end. Just for the fun of it, because I'm gonna just quick roll to make sure things don't go too terribly bad. Okay, great. You can hear Bob saying something in a Bob-like voice manner down the hallway. You can't understand it over the sound of the alarm that goes off. He's braced himself in the doorway of her space.
So Pierce kind of goes flying and just kind of rolls around, is kind of stuck on his back, hits over the speaker and just says, "Is everyone okay? Is everyone fine? How's everyone doing?"
I am going to picture coordinates in my head to everyone.
Pierce, while he's waiting to listen to if anyone's ringing their medical help bells,
There's a ding, 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 ding. The princess is locked in her chamber and is definitely like
He's trying to get up, but he's having a hard time, so he just kind of rolls in the direction of where the guns are.
Okay, you pick up some space dust bunnies along the way as they stick to your quills as you roll across the floor. A small piece of trash here or there, and especially if Pierce keeps weapons in their chambers, they would be there waiting on you.
Okay, perfect.
So I feel like when you... Oh, no, go ahead. Sorry. You good? Cool. So, I feel like when you're asking how everybody's doing, like, there's not even like a comms check. You just hear Chim going like, yeah! And he's just barreling towards the... What gun position did we had weapons, right? He's heading to the weapons.
Yeah, you do. You have weapons. On this ship.
Yep.
So one of the cool things for all of you at home about Teens in Space that I really love is during the character building process, you get a certain amount of like points to distribute, as most tabletop games. But at the end, you can choose to withhold some of those points and dump them into the vessel that you share. So you can actually like really upgrade the vessel to be something super hyped if everybody dumps a certain amount of points in, which our crew did. So here is what's currently available to our crew. The thrusters have been upgraded to a D6, so if you want to do quick getaway Caspia, that's going to be probably a D6 bonus. We do have shields have been upgraded. There is manned turret guns, which is probably what you're headed towards. Let's see. In addition, it looks like there is a cloaking device, which was probably already on. And there's a smuggler's hold, which all of you purchased as well. Let's see if there's anything else. I think those were the big things. So I would say the manned turret guns are where you're gonna be. Headed. So yeah, you hear the doof, 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 even over the low rumble of the foghorn as you run to what I'm going to guess is probably one of the kind of wings or sides of the vessel where this new turret gun has like been actually put on, and you have to crawl through this tiny little porthole into kind of this bubble like your big body squeezing through this hole as you squeeze into this kind of glass bubble that has a turret gun that spins in 360 direction.
We're gonna have fun.
Yeah, you of course know to buckle yourself in. I'll give you that much. And you manage to kind of ride it as it settles to you and catch sight of what you see. There seems to be two smaller vessels. These are the kinds of vessels that are used for quick and dirty hits on usually other ships or small towns as they come in out of the atmosphere. And their goal is, there's not even room for cargo, so prisoners aren't an option, if that says anything. They're coming in fast, Chim. And you're welcome to take a shot if you'd like. You would be able to get off probably one.
There, let's go ahead and take a big old shot at this bad boy. I'm ready.
Okay. So this is a fight, because technically it's yours, and you're going to get to add the D6 of the turret gun.
Oh, buddy. All right. Now, let me go ahead now. Roll my fight. Oh, not great. Not great. I'm just gonna roll brains because that's an easy D6. That's right.
There we go. Maybe it's because you're not used to these guns. You fire off, no problem, but it misses them entirely. The two of them barrel roll and start to come around to flank either side of the ship. It will be much harder to hit them together. Now you'll have to hit them one-on-one.
I feel like the camera like shifts away as soon as like Chim like lifts up his fist to slam down, and just like obscenity, like, you know, just silence as it moves off to somebody else.
All right, Pierce, you've put you guys have one-man turret gun. Other things I guess that you could do would be to let's see. There are other things. There's the cloaking device, and I'm going to say at this point, you guys go up one in your heat meter scale. The vessel is now being pushed. We've got both the turrets going, and we have used the shields. The shields are at full active as you're being kind of pew-pewed at from space. it is Caspia. I'm gonna swing back around to you. The camera like bolts down to check and see how you're doing in the cockpit.
Okay, yeah. I am quickly maneuvering my ship, and doing like twirlies in the air to not be shot at. And I am also radioing Herbexon
Okay.
and Benthosa because they're nearby, right? Too far away.
You can. I would say that Herbexon is significantly closer.
Right.
So you would hit Herbexon long before you would hit Benthosa. For sure. And you would know that it would be a lot harder to contact someone on Benthosa than it would be on Herbexon.
Okay, so we're near Benthosa. I reach out with my hive mind.
Okay, cool. Do you have to roll for that? Does it give you anything for a roll?
Let me
I
look.
was about to see. Yeah, because that's an interesting one because there's definitely a hive mind on Benthosa.
Yeah. It is share a hive mind with a group of creatures, likely ones similar to myself. Without a check, I may communicate with them. If far away, may require a brains check.
Okay, a brains check. All right, let's make the brains. You are not even in orbit of the planet yet. Okay. 8. Not too bad. You concentrate real hard. It takes you a moment. You even have to close your eyes, I guess. The suit kind of closes its eyes, and there's a concentration from all the critters in your belly as they reach out across time and space, trying to call out to the sentient bodies of water that exist in mass across the surface of Benthosa. And it's almost that moment of silence when your head is dunked underwater. That openness as voices, many of them, reach out to you. And by voices, it's really images. And they begin kind of circling through as you try to ping one of them, catch just one, so that you can concentrate in. And finally, like tunnel vision, it comes down. There's kind of a black emptiness as there is a image that's presented to you. One that is custom to the Benthosas, and part of their like native pictorial, I guess, language. And it welcomes you, knowing that you are one, and ask how it can help you.
I project our coordinates, and I project the name and numbers of my ship, and like a mayday signal being attacked.
There is a response. The voices respond back to you. They respond back to you with open arms and like a welcoming way. But quickly following that is also a warning. A warning that the planet's surface is currently being scouted. And has been for many weeks. What of, you're unsure. But no new Benthosas have left and found sentience over the last few weeks because of these strange vessels that scour the surface, seemingly looking for something.
Okay. Do they show me what they look like?
Yeah, they show you the vessel. They're different than the ones that are chasing you. These seem to be something entirely different. Though you're not entirely sure who or what. It's definitely not marked with any kind of military symbol or any kind of symbol of peace. And I guess you could say they were unmarked vessels. And you can see they fly in threes as they kind of scour along the surface. They dip in close to the water, and then they scoot back out. And they're doing these circuits around the surface of Benthosa.
Okay. I guess I thank them.
Yeah, they say thank you. They do say they respond back to you. If you seek shelter, this is basically what they say. If you seek shelter, there is no better place than the jungle.
Yeah, so I thank them, and I just immediately kind of inject that in like one big like to my friends. And I think maybe they've gotten used to like when they've skipped class and want to get like lecture notes, I just like into their brains.
Oh my
Yes.
gosh, totally.
Oh, it's wonderful.
Okay, love it.
It's wonderful.
All right. That's great. The image comes across as all of you continue your duties. Unfortunately, Caspia, the concentration it takes to connect with sentient bodies of water took your mind just away long enough from the current and present moment that 2 more shots are fired off on the vessel. Pew, pew. They're going to try to hit. So they're going to roll. First one is they get a +2 because their vessel also has manned turret guns. First vessel is not enough, I don't think. No. Okay. Shots are fired off again. They don't break through the shield. You can see it on your dash. Like every time it hits the shield, it does rock the vessel. Thank you for that subscription. And everybody else, once again, is going to make a check as it rumbles. I would say, Chim, you're good to go. Pierce, if you're not strapped in, I'm going to have you make another flight check.
Yeah, not strapped in at all.
Yep. As you kind of like, I imagine you're trying to get where you're going, but it's a rough and bumpy ride.
Yeah. So that's a flight check. Okay, let's see if I do good.
That's a 3. You go flying across the room. Yeah, we see a cactus go flying. And a lot of things stick to you, soft things, a pillow or two.
I have like pillows. There's like apples, like various fruits.
Various things that are beginning to stick to your body. Bad news is Bob has been knocked out. And you can see that there's a small leak in his suit. From a distance, you can see it. It's like it's like shooting out. It must be a hydraulics of some kind. But he lays flat. His little screen face no longer shows the green eyes and smile. It is just a blank face with a green line.
I am on my way over there anyway to get whatever
Perfect.
I was getting. Do I see this?
Yeah, oh yeah, you see it. As you kind of catch yourself and you go flying, so does Bob. And Bob smacks his helmet and goes face down, and there's a light leak from his his suit.
Sugar Spike, hey, Pierce says, laying on the floor covered in various things, having a hard time slipping up.
You hear her little paw behind the door. She's like, "Help me! It's Mommy, can't get out."
Sorry, what was that? There's a lot of noise. Pierce tries to hit the door opening thing if possible.
Yeah, okay. You want to hit the manually try to open the door.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, you reach up, no problem, and you hit the thing. Immediately it says error. Door out of order.
No, door open. That's what you're supposed to do.
Door out of order. Power currently being rerouted.
I would like to go into my bag, to my I forgot what it was, I forgot the exact wording of it. My belt, my utility belt.
Your medic belt.
And I would like to try to pull out some more suit putty.
Okay. Yeah, you pull out some suit putty. I've got to know what this putty looks like.
It kind of looks like it's in a very similar container as like Play-Doh.
Okay.
It kind of resembles a little Play-Doh box. And it just says suit putty, and there's like a little doodle of Bob on there. That was clearly done by Pierce himself. And he can't really get up, so he's like he like bites the lid off, spits it out, grabs the putty, and just says, "Bob, oh hold on, here you go," and is trying to mold the putty around the tube. It can't really continue the flow, but it can stop the leak at least.
Okay, yeah, you putty it up and you begin kind of patting it. It takes a second, and finally the leak, it does stop. I am going to have you make a brains check.
Done. And 19!
Great! You pat it up and you're like, oh, that's great. Wait a second. If I just change the pressure at one point, it's gonna out another small hole.
Oh gosh.
You've solved this one, but it's kind of it's now leaking just a little as the camera pans down a tiny little hallway to a door with with Jim, who is actually trying to, I'm guess, shoot these things. Yeah, go ahead and make a fight again with the D6 for the turrets, and we'll let you get 2 shots off this time because you didn't have to travel. A holy spacesuit.
Holler a little bit at him. Yeah, Caspian, Caspian, keep it steady there, please. I'm trying to get these bad boys off my tail. Little.
Oh! Nicely done. You can roll your die again and add the total.
Oh god.
Ridiculous.
Put that 6 out there, and then
so that's 24. Oh, that's the D6. So 24,
D6.
and then re-roll your
go ahead and do that
D20.
next one. Not that great.
30.
Not that great. No, it's cool.
34. Correct. That seems right. Yes. Okay. 34. Tell me how you basically disintegrate the 2 vessels that were chasing you.
I think this is a little bit about little teamwork with Caspia here. I mean, she's one of best damn pilots out there, and she's just kind of like rocking, and she heard me. I gotta hope that she heard me, and I'm gonna go ahead and kind of like flip it one way, and then I just kind of like spun another way, and then maybe it was just luck, or maybe it was just Mama looking down on me, but like, oh man, I just pushed the button at the right time and touchdown.
The first one, you line it up. It's that moment that Caspia turns, levels everything out just in time as it draws across. You get the green go light, one ship. Yep. And because it was just so stinking amazing, you fire 1 shot, you fire 2 shots, and half the first ship that blows, half of it smashes into the second one. Between the second shot and the debris, both of them explode in silence behind you. You see a big boom and light, but no sound. And Caspia, the dash lets you very quickly know that the 2 enemies that were on like the radar are gone. And the vessel, of course, says, currently, no hostiles.
Over the speaker, Pierce just calls out to everyone. Bob is down. He is out. He is leaking, and I am all out of suit putty. We need to plan fast. The infirmary is not fully stocked. That was my fault. We need to land somewhere quick.
You see like a salute and then a picture of us going into the jungle.
I take that back. We cannot land. I'll figure something out.
We're going into the jungle.
I'm gonna have Caspia make that roll to get you into orbit and to land you in the jungle.
18.
Have you been to the moon of your planet before? Is this the first time you'll be actually visiting Herbaxon?
Yes. And you know what? I don't think I've actually been to Benthosa.
Oh, interesting. So you've only ever heard... Well, it's a beautiful planet, especially from... just because of how blue it is. With the contrasting green moon that circles it. It's quite... a neon sight for sore eyes, I guess you could say. And as you get closer to the planet, it doesn't take you long. Even as you cross through the atmosphere, immediately the signs and readings on the dash change. High levels of oxygen. Little to no water on the surface, though you very clearly read that there is a large body of water at the core of this moon that probably was frozen at one point. And as you bring the vessel in, even as dense as the forest is, thick canopy, thick, just green vines that you may never have seen before, you manage to come in and find a docking bay, in fact. One that seems to be attached to some kind of outpost here. It was what pinged you and what seemed to be the closest landing, safe landing. Has 4 platforms and kind of a centralized... building. That's about all that you can see from here. The rest of it is dense green forest.
I press the button that says, this is Trader Joe. Air control.
There's like a moment and a pause. A strange sound comes over the like the comm. It's not anything you've ever heard before, Caspia. Pierce, you recognize it instantly. It's yeah, it's native Herbexon, which is the language of the plants.
Pierce just says, I can get that, Caspia, if you just patch me in.
I patch Pierce in.
Comes up
Pierce.
over it. It simply sounds like wind blowing through the leaves. You are cleared for landing, from what you can tell, Pierce. They ask you to identify yourself. What do you say?
Pierce just goes, whoosh. Pierce.
There's a pause. Internally, it seems rather pregnant, I guess you could say, for the rest of the crew. But you know that plants, need more time to contemplate things without proper brains, at least some of them. And there is a response. They tell you that you are cleared for landing, though you will not be met by anyone.
That sounds great. Pierce really likes that. Pierce loves that, actually. Pierce communicates that back with them. Okay, we are clear to land. There should be no one there to meet us, unfortunately, but I hope that they have some kind of med bay in the area. I will do my best to get up on my feet and get Bob onto one of our floating gurneys that we have, because this is outer space and the future. So those definitely exist, and we have them. If you see anyone who looks like me, just don't tell them I'm here.
You've been cleared. You land beautifully, smack dab in the middle of one of these 4 platforms. When you exit, for those of you, I guess, that don't really speak or don't need to breathe oxygen, it doesn't really make a difference for you. But for the rest,
there's a lot of oxygen.
Yeah, there's a lot of oxygen. For the rest of you, it's so clean. You almost get like a rush of oxygen. It's like the first time you climb a massive mountain, you get to the top and you're like, I feel great, but I think I'm gonna throw up. It's like that.
Pierce gets Bob up using like a jack of some kind to put him up on the floating gurney.
Yeah.
And is kind of wheeling him down to the bay of the ship, the exit of the ship. When Pierce walks down, he is definitely float wheeling the gurney, and there are like teddy bears, there's stuff stuck to him, pretty much every possible thing is stuck in him. He just looks like an absolute disaster. He's just like talking to himself. He's like, it's gonna be fine, it's gonna be fine, no one's here, mom and dad aren't here, everything's going to be okay, and we're gonna get you all the help you need. Ha! 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 Oh,
Yeah.
Could someone smash the door? It seems like the door is broken and Sugar Spike is trapped inside.
I go running towards the door because I don't want anyone to smash my shit.
You can hear Chim struggling
Yeah, you gotta
to get
beat
out of
him.
the seatbelt, like excited. Ooh, smash? Yeah.
No, I think I might even. Yeah, I just like run as fast as my suit will let me to get over there. And I want to try to like figure out how to open it in a more, reasonable, logical way.
Yeah,
Yes.
wonderful. So reason and logic. Who would have thunk? So you run up to it. You see that there is some kind of malfunction. You don't know if it was when they like shot the ship, if it might have been Bob that bumped into it. There is a slight technological malfunction. Bob currently lays at the door. His screen reads rebooting.
Okay.
There seems to be a delay there of some kind. Somebody here can make a brains check if you'd like to try to figure out the technology piece of this. That's not what I want.
Yeah, I can do that.
Yeah, anybody is welcome to.
4.
4. Ooh, okay. A 6 is what you needed. A
good.
6 is what you needed. So, a 6 will tell you, you don't know a lot of details about it, but there's definitely some kind of electrical malfunction in the door if you're going to get it open. You're either going to have to pry it, or you're going to have to try to fix the mechanism.
So it looks like the door is kind of jammed. So smashing is my bet for just quickness sake, but I don't really know how to get in there. That was kind of Bob's expertise, and he is sort of potentially dying. So
Okay. I then
This is
picture-
rebooting, not dying.
Yes.
Very clearly says
Same thing,
rebooting.
Pierce. Totally same thing.
I don't
picture
actually know
then
I don't know the medical
Pierce
nature of the gas. So
taking our rebooting friend
Okay.
to help.
Okay.
And then I'm at least going to try to do some wire stuff.
Okay, cool. Yeah. So the wire stuff is the brains. If somebody wants to try to if you want to smash the door open, you can. You can also try to pry it open. Either way, it would be a brawn check. So a brains if you want to try to fix the Hey, well done, well done. It is your ship. Tech may not be your cup of tea, but you know your vessel inside Trader Joe's. You know Trader Joe's inside and out.
I gave it a little thump, and then I jiggled some wires.
Oh,
good.
Yeah, you jiggle a little bit. You realize that there was a little bit of some electrical flow, probably when the ship was redirecting some energy and things like that just blew a few of the wires. So you very quickly nip them where they burned out, tying new ends back together, sealing it off, and everything kind of the HUD there on the door reboots, no problem, and it looks like it's ready to go. And as you do this, of course, once it reboots, the door immediately opens because all of you are in the sensory area, and as it does, you see the princess. She's laid out on the floor. One might say she's passed out, except for the fact that her eyes are wide open, and they are milky white.
okay, that's good. That's normal.
I guess I lean over her and so I think Caspia is smart enough to kind of start putting the clues together, because she watched her just go up to the ship and touch it.
Yep.
And
They're like things, yeah. She been a little weird.
yeah. And then especially
For space too.
Yeah, especially with what Pierce told us. So I'm like, and so, but I don't really know what it's like. Well, I do know what it's like when you're communicating with another being because of hive mind. So I'm gonna kind of assume it's like that, and I guess I'm gonna kind of reach out for her hand.
Okay.
And see mentally if she's there.
She's not. Her mind is somewhere else. Being held captive is maybe a strong term, but she seems to be communing mentally with something else. I am going to let you... This is really a charm check, because you're reading the emotions of another. So I'm going to have you make a charm check to see if you can figure out anything else.
Okay, I did take extra points in charm.
Great!
So
It's maybe
we shall
Caspia's
see.
day. Ooh, an 11. Okay. Yes, so when you touch her hand, you guys watch as, Caspia, too, her, head, of her suit kind of jolts backwards a little bit, and the little, swimmies in her belly begin to flow in this, they actually start to swim together in this, circle as they process this information, and, they seem to be in some kind of trance, and Caspia, you see through the eyes of the princess. She is sitting, little tiny hedgehog Indian style, in front of a plant, a big one. It could swallow her many times over. It seems to have some kind of opening, as if a mouth, kind of like what we might consider a Venus flytrap. Around the edges it is sharp and spiky, and in the center sits this beautiful flower. It glows this kind of effervescent blue like ice. Relatively unnatural looking, but also extremely natural for this plant, it seems. As if it sits right where, like a tongue would be on the inside of the mouth. She doesn't reach out for it, but they seem to be communing in some way. And you watch as the flower lets out this pollination. It fills the air and trickles down over the princess.
That's not probably good.
That's probably... We're in space and things are pollinating each other. Definitely not good. It's almost as if at that point after the pollination, your shared mind with her is too much. And it kicks you out in a very violent way. When you come back, once again, the princess's little hedgehog body lays there limp. Her eyes ghosted over in a white. There's no pupil and no color. And her body does not move, though she does breathe.
So Pierce has having placed hover Bob in the by the exit of the ship, comes back and sees this, and is just like, "Oh, get the tiny gurney," and just goes back and gets another smaller hover gurney, and carefully picks up with the.
It's like a serving tray size.
Yeah,
right.
And
It's a dinner
kind of
plate.
puts her on the hover dinner plate, and starts like getting basic vitals and wheeling her to the.
Okay. If you want to make a medical brains check on her, you could take her down and actually run a quick vitals on her. So go ahead and make this is a brains check, and anything that you have that might add to it.
Okay. That's a 20.
Holy schmolies! Well, go ahead and roll that die again and add to it.
Okay.
Wonderful. This is so perfect. This is your home planet. You begin running vitals on her. She's alive. She's breathing, her body is functioning, but her mind is somewhere else. It's, seems to be functioning at very high brain capacity for her not to actually be awake in any way. Immediately, your mind begins to trail back to your time, your few years upon her Bexon before you were asked to leave. You would know that there are no other life forms on this planet other than plants. They're not allowed to be here. Not animals, and nothing biological other than plants. It is part of the way of the of herbaceans for their safety. There are some ancient herbaceans that were said to communicate in various ways. Many of the plants here, the ancient ones, had healing properties and powers. They were mostly cut and pruned down to nothing during the Great War for healing people. Mm-hmm. But it is whispered that an ancient herbation lives near and under the surface, that it holds great wisdom and knowledge for those that seek it, and only those worthy enough are allowed to share in it. To most people, it simply looks like possession.
Pierce goes back into he grabs one of the little journals that he has with like some of this information and is kind of like looking into it. I would recognize this as some kind of connection with the ancient herbation and maybe
is
the bind?
It with that? Yes.
Okay.
Very much so. It almost
Okay.
called out to her. That may have been why she said she wasn't feeling so well.
Okay. I, much like Pierce, doesn't know what to do with this information at the moment, but stress out a little bit. So Pierce stresses out a little.
Okay, you know what? If you're really stressing, there's a roll for this.
Okay.
There is a roll for this. This is your grit. I'm gonna have you roll a grit roll. You're
Okay.
feeling a lot of pressure.
That's an 11.
Okay. You hold it together, but you didn't know plants could sweat. You're perspiring.
It's a little sticky.
It's sticky.
Uh,
It's very sticky, and you're concerned because in your knowledge of ancient creatures like this, it's not really for anyone other than the ancient to say when or how it uses its powers. So you might have one option, which is to go seek it out. You could try to communicate with it, but it will only let the princess go when it feels it is done with her.
So now, oh gosh, great. This creature is able to communicate because one thing that herbaceans have is the ability to do the hive mind.
Yes, also a hive mind. Mm-hmm.
I do not. I as leaving the planet was not a part of the hive mind. I made a point to not be a part of the hive mind.
Mm-hmm.
But I was wondering, would I know if Caspia would be able to communicate potentially?
Is the hive mind that you chose, Caspia, specific to?
Yeah, mine is specific to like bodies of water.
You would know this, Pierce.
If I had leveled it up,
you could choose other hive minds. You would know this. The ancient is apart from the hive mind. The ancients are more than the hive mind.
Oh, that tracks. Okay. So everyone, little bit of lore here for you. So it looks like the sugar spike is in contact with an ancient being from my planet, and the only way to possibly help her is to seek it out. So who wants to go on an adventure?
Bob's screen flashes. Rebooting. Rebooting.
Here's just like, I'd like to remind you all that I am over the speaker and I cannot see your raised hands. Is everyone raising their hands? Is everyone raising their hands?
You see 2 thumbs up.
Oh, awesome. Okay. Okay. So I'll meet you down by the exit and and then the audio cuts out.
Poor little plants panicking. This is how I actually am when I go home for the holidays. Okay, so right. If you choose to exit the vessel, princess on a silver platter, literally, you step out onto this docking area. It is, when it was originally built, probably built here by somebody other than the herbaceans, very clearly. It has that technological feel, though over time it has been taken back by the plant life of this dense jungle. Unlike most jungles where you might hear, say, creatures, birds, insects, this is dead quiet, except for the wind through the rustling of the leaves.
Oh, did not miss that sound. So I walk out into the space. Is there anything that would symbolize where maybe a med bay would be, or any kind of?
Yep. There's this like one. It literally looks like one building, maybe 20 by 20, that's attached to all 4 of these landing stations. Oddly enough, it is not actually manned by anyone. Okay. I guess what would be the control bay of this station seems to be covered in greenery. Even the glass is covered through and through with vines and plant life. Though everything seems to be functional, you were cleared to land. And as the doors open for you, you see a 20 by 20 space. There's I guess you could call it a medical bay. There's like a single table, though it is, again, unmanned. Algae grows from like corners everywhere. The space, though not fully taken over, is slowly succumbing to the way the outside has.
Pierce immediately once like wheels them in through floats them in through the door, and runs over to a cabinet that looks like it might, and starts going through drawers, looking for some kind of putty or clay that can be used for instances like this.
Okay. There are some very old things here. Some what might be considered like penicillin, a few injections, but nothing of note. It looks like this place has been abandoned.
Oh, great. In the oh gosh, so there's probably really nothing in the it's not pretty stocked, huh?
Nope.
Okay. Pierce walks over to Bob and just kind of plugs the hole with his finger, and just says, he still has the gloves on, so no pokies. Still has the gloves on. He's like, Bob, I'm gonna get you help. It's gonna be fine. You're gonna reboot, and everything's gonna be fine. You're gonna be here, and you're gonna help me take care of the other one who's also unconscious. This is going well. Ring the bells. Ring the bells. Is there anything around that I can see that's out of the ordinary, or is it just like we claimed?
It looks like there was a desk in here that was probably held somebody. There's a security locker that's long been cleaned out from weaponry and things like that, and a small holding facility. You can see like a small jail cell, I guess you could see on the other side, as if this might have been used for an emergency landing place or those kind of things. But from what you can tell, the interior here is long since abandoned, at least by any life other than plants.
Well, luckily for Pierce, and also unluckily for Pierce, his family, his dad specifically, is a historian who would know probably the next step to find the ancient herbation. As far as medical things in the instance, Pierce kind of tries to take a little bit of the putty that he has and some ingredients that he has to kind of thicken up what little he has left, and tries to at least temporarily hold it over, but it's not really much of a fix. So he just kind of straps band-aids over it, like probably 30 band-aids over it. It's going to leave that nice sticky film on the glass of Bob's.
Oh, no!
It's not going to be great, but he's going to thank me when he's alive. Or when he's rebooted without losing some of himself.
Yes, he will be appreciative. Okay. You patch it over. It's doing the job for now. You think you've gotten it as tight as you can. It's definitely not like actively like. The princess still lays flat on this plate, and just in time for you to finish patching him up, outside you hear a loud clatter, thunder. Caspia, your planet, you might have met thunder before. There are some planets that don't have any, but a massive storm rolls in very quickly, and it opens up. It's again kind of in the sky, I guess you could say. It opens up and hits the tin roof of this building. It very quickly becomes the noise that you hear as it begins to pick up. And the far end of the building also have two sliding doors that lead to the other two docking bays. Open. And in it stand a couple figures. Two figures similar to that of Pierce. They take kind of a succulent form. I wouldn't call them a cactus per se, but an overgrown succulent seems way more accurate. And one of them comes rolling in. The other one walks via these like viney tendrils that come out of the bottom of it that have uprooted themselves, and they kind of in, and they remain in silhouette. And one of them simply says, Pierce,
which is how Pierce says hello.
Yes, and they did not say hello, unfortunately. Pierce, you would know that it was more of a, who are you and what are you doing here?
So Pierce takes off his big old round glasses, and kind of looks forward and just says, "Hi."
There's a very pregnant pause, and then the succulent, kind of with the tendrils, lifts itself up. It kind of raises its height.
Yeah, they're pretty big.
They're rather large.
I think you go in a foot for every year you're alive.
Yeah.
Here, unless you're pruned.
It's big, and it raises itself, and you hear, "By God, is that Pierce?"
Hi. Yeah. Help?
He says, we're not supposed to help you. You're not even supposed to be here.
Yeah, but I am, and I need it, so if we could just look past that whole business about me not being welcome here, that'd be really great for me.
The round one, which is definitely more of, like I said, kind of like a round cactus. It no longer has flowers on it, just spikes as it rolls. It says, I don't know, we could get in a lot of trouble.
I won't tell anyone, and neither will my friends. We just need some medical help and maybe some help at finding and unearthing the ancient spirit that dwells within our world. That's all. Not a lot.
The small one goes, did he just say what I... Yeah, he did, shut up. We can't help you, Pierce. We'll be in a lot of trouble.
I won't tell anyone. I promise. You know, we could even do the secret herbation handshake that we all have and know.
Is that a real thing, or are you trying to convince him of that?
It's a real thing, and everyone knows about it, but it's a sacred thing. It's like a pinky promise, essentially.
He goes, we stopped doing the handshake with you a long time ago, Pierce. You know that the daddy bulb will tell us that we can't share in the secret handshake with you.
What the daddy bulb doesn't know won't hurt it. Please, my friends are in trouble.
They step farther in and the door finally closes, sealing off some of the rain that's pouring outside, and they kind of step into a dim light so that you can see them a little bit better. And it's about this time that you hear something from the princess. She lets out a strange wheezing noise as she sits straight up. Her eyes still glazed over this, like, white milky, and she just stares into the abyss, and the voice that comes out of her is not her own, but it does speak in a language that you all understand. And it simply says, I am the ancient one of this planet. Who calls me?
That'd be me, Pierce. Help?
I do not help. Such concepts are meant for something other than herbaceans.
Like who?
He says, those that are worried about their measly existence.
You seem great. And am I to assume that is this the ancient?
It's speaking through her. It's speaking through
okay.
the princess. Like, these deep words are coming out of her
Okay.
little tiny mouth as she sits, like, straight up, kind of petrified, her hands tight by her side and her eyes just, like, milkied over.
Okay, well, so, could you please leave our friend, the princess? We kind of need her to be fine for friendship and also a final.
This vessel suits me just fine.
Wouldn't you feel better in, like, a nice, Pierce looks around, chair?
Feel better? No. I have not felt anything in millennia. This little one is close with the bind. No one of her strength has dare stepped foot on her Bexon in many a generation.
Yeah, that's probably because you do stuff like this. That's probably smart of people.
They used to offer themselves to me. Those who wanted deeper sentience, connection to something more than themselves. Now, all of you that claim to be herbaceans ignore me. Pretend that I do not thrive beneath your roots.
Where would...
Pardon me. Can we just have a friend back? Like, I mean, that's really all we need. Like,
Would you like to roll a charm?
Oh God! Yes, do it.
Yeah.
Because that's what that is.
I want you to get a natural 20 and just be like, yeah, okay, yeah, fine, plot over.
I can't get that high.
Oh God.
Go ahead. I just got to see this happen.
I know.
It's okay. It's okay. The princess's head almost turns on this like tight swivel, and looks at you, Chim, as it says, "No."
Okay. Well, can I like charge my laser? Like you just hear go.
So
Like now I'm threatening.
The
Punch
plant.
first, feel later.
Your plant friends, who haven't actually, I guess, introduced themselves, the two succulents, walk ever closer as this is happening. And as you charge up your weapon, they don't like weapons. You watch as they almost like swell up. You know how plants will get like bigger when the sun shines? They poof up a little bit in a bit of when you raise a weapon. That's a big sign to them.
Pierce reaches over and tries to, with the safety gloves, lowers Chim's gun, and then with the other hand slowly reaches into his med kit, grabs a little needle of anesthetic or something to knock the princess out, and just kind of gently puts it in the princess' arms and injects it.
There's a moment, again, like her body is stiff, her eyes begin to shut, and before they do, the ancient manages to get words out. She is mine now.
Pierce just takes a deep breath, turns to the two succulents and just says, I need you to take me to my father.
You see a picture of me holding a shovel.
Caspia?
Dang! Okay, love it.
That's the 8-year-old.
Oh, that's amazing.
Love.
The two succulents, a chat has named them Bud and Fern. Thank you. Bud and Fern, were just that. They were just a small fern and a bud long, long ago. But now, like you, grown plant, fully grown, they kind of back away. And we can't help you.
Pierce holds his arms out and just says, I surrender. I broke the rules. Take me in.
Oh. And you watch as two vines of the kind of ones that keep the succulent upright lash out with these whipping motions, and they he turns to look at the rest of your party. Do they also surrender?
Oh. I think like at this point, Caspia's getting kind of angry.
I can't wait to see this.
Yeah. And Caspia starts the images that these two succulents receive are a little bit more like sharper.
Oh.
Yes.
Do you give him the image of a sharp shovel cutting through dirt?
No.
Okay.
Instead, what they see is like official looking documents and like approval and important people looking down at them like this.
Okay.
And then me being with them.
Okay. All right,
And
I'm gonna do a quick charm check because this is technically like an intimidation.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
7.
Okay, there's that moment they kind of beef up and then the plants kind of shrivel down. They do have the two vines that whipped out and grabbed Pierce by his cactus arms release very slowly, but do release. And the one that seems to be in charge says, no funny business. We won't bind you, but no funny business.
No funny business.
And he stays here, and he points at Bob.
No, Bob needs medical attention. Bob comes with us.
They look at each other. They're like, he is far too heavy. He's baggage.
Yeah, he's
He's not heavy.
Yeah, he's got a floating thing on him. We'll just wheel him. Or float
Oh,
him.
that's right. You had him on a cart. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, that's right. They say,
Whiskey, I'll just get him. It's
they go,
fine.
fine. But we cannot promise his safety.
Can't
well-
promise yours either.
I ask everyone if they have a balloon.
Yeah. Pierce does have a balloon. It's not inflated though, because it can't keep him at pop.
Right. And then if like you see like if there's like danger sign on Bob, we could like put Bob in the balloon.
I do. Pierce does have a medical balloon. Yes.
Okay.
It's a surgical balloon.
Okay, I see what's happening here. Okay, yeah, it's a surgical balloon, but it could be used that way to transfer hot Bob into a balloon for a short period of time.
I
That
also
is
have some medical
actually
yarn.
there.
Just float it.
There's sci-fi for all of you. That is sci-fi at its finest.
Oh my god, I love it.
So
That's
much.
such a good idea.
Okay, that's brilliant.
Oh.
That's just brilliant. Okay, yeah, you do in fact have a balloon. I would think that you're smart enough traveling with these two. You have a balloon and a medical bladder as well.
Yes. Yes.
You've got a lot of elements going on in your life, so.
I also have a Snickers for Chim, just in case.
But it's not a Snickers. It's like just a bar of plutonium.
Yeah, essentially. Yeah. It's
just
got electrolytes.
radioactive material.
Yeah, it's fine. It's good. It's delicious.
Oh, I love this.
Protein bar.
I love this so much. Okay, you feel secure in
Proton
moving.
bar,
A
proton
proton bar.
Totally a proton bar. Mhm.
There is a lift that will take you down to the jungle floor, which is basically the only means of travel. This sits up off the floor, obviously. The two plants, Fern and what did they call the other one? Bud.
Bud?
Fern and Bud.
Bud.
I'm gonna get Bud and Bob mixed up so many times. Fern and Bud lead you down the lift to the jungle floor. The ground here is soft and very like damp. Really
say ouch
good
when we walk on it?
fertilized dirt.
Ow,
No,
ow,
it does
ow,
not.
ow,
It does
ow,
not.
ow, ow.
But yeah, there's just a lot of plants. Some of them even like move to look at you as you walk past. There is everything around you seems to be alive, though you have not seen any other living creature or on this place other than yourselves. Everything seems to be plant life.
I keep on bowing around.
There is a lot of the when a lot of the Herbaceans speak, their language does kind of sound like air and wind. But one of the things when you hear a lot of it at once, it does make the generic standard cartoon whisper sound.
Whispers all around you as you walk through this forest, and it rains. And it continues to rain profusely. The wind also picks up. Go ahead and do this as well so I can put it on loop. It is very much an unpleasant environment.
Pierce, while still looking at Bud and Fern, I think his name was, Pierce just kind of like gestures that he's going into his bag, opens it up, and just kind of makes a little kind of a makeshift windshield over the two floating friends, just to kind of protect them from the elements a little bit as we're progressing.
Okay. The good news is you have two people to lead you there, so there's no getting lost and no need to really worry about the right path. To all of you, there is no path. To them, they find it very easily. And before you know it, it opens up into a clearing where you see a Herbacean town. Quaint little village. Pierce, this is home.
Yeah, it does feel like that, as everyone's like looking at me.
Yeah, there's definitely a lot of eyes. There are a lot of creatures, like I said here, that don't belong here. There are even more whispers.
It's so irritating. Like,
Yeah.
Chim is just irritated.
Yeah.
Not
Well, if
liking
you can hear
this.
what they're saying, it's even worse.
There's a bunch of daisies that like.
Hi, Maud.
Well, I want to come and say that unto your face, hmm? Yeah. I hear you loud and clear. You're not gonna mess with my friend Pierce there.
It's okay, Chim. I deserve it.
Why you letting them on talk to you like that?
Well, it's
You don't deserve nothing. You deserve to be just like you're so nice. They just don't know you. They didn't get a chance to know you.
Thanks, Chim.
I can crush them for you.
No. It's fine. They'll just come back anyway. It's what we do.
Pierce, is your father also a cactus choosing herbation?
Essentially, he's a swirl cactus. He is very, very like if I'm going to describe him, he basically he's huge. Pierce is about maybe like 6'2", pretty big, but not huge compared to like Jim. But Pierce's father is essentially a gigantic swirl cactus. He doesn't have a flower. However, he does have big round glasses and what appears to be kind of a cactus wool mustache.
Yes, thank you. I was hoping he had facial hair.
Yeah, he's got just a big bushy cactus wool mustache.
He is massive. Chim, this is the biggest cactus you've ever seen. It stands your height by 8 foot, 9 foot, give or take. A very large, grown cacti. Your father seems to be rooted at the moment, which tells you either he is seeking sustenance or he is currently preparing for pollination season. As all great herbaceans do. But as you kind of gather, people begin to gather, they part away, leading you straight towards him. The town gathers in a semicircle around the three of you, passed out Bob, and a plate serving a princess. And your father reaches up and twirls his mustache.
Hey, Dad. How are you?
There's a couple... He raises a hand and it goes silent, all but the rain.
Pierce.
And he says, "You're not welcome here, Pierce."
I know I'm not. We needed to land. We were being attacked, and my friends need help. And you can do whatever you want with me. I just need to help them, please.
What help do you require?
We need medical stuff for my friend Bob over there, the big metal piece one, and the other one's a little more complicated than that. But I thought
you
if
brought a
anyone would know
vessel
what to
for
do.
the ancient one.
How did you know?
He simply looks. I can feel it. His presence. Their presence.
What can we do?
Unless you offer a greater sacrifice than a vessel, there is nothing that you can do.
Sacrifice? What kind of sacrifice?
Always asking questions, Pierce.
He can't get answers otherwise.
There again are whispers. He's talking back. Oh my gosh.
Will you stop, everyone? Will you just stop? Please, my friends need help, okay? Dad, I know you're mad, but I'm asking you as your son, please help my friends, and you can do whatever you want with me. I'll stay, and I'll root up, and I won't leave, and I'll give up on my dreams and everything. Just, you have to help me. You have to help me.
He says, "I would never ask you to give up on your dreams, Pierce. I did not banish you because I did not want you here. I banished you because I wanted you to have a chance to do what you wanted."
Why didn't you say that when you banished me? That's a lot of baggage to carry around for all these years. That would have been an easy thing to say. Quiet! Darcy!
All these toolers are like... Your friends. He kind of gestures to all of them. They, too, learn with you.
Yeah, it's actually kind of our final assignment, and as you can tell, it's going pretty well.
You are almost done
Yeah.
with your
I'm gonna-
dream.
Well, I'm almost done with the degree portion of my dream, and then I get to see where the dream takes me.
He says, you can speak with the Ancient One yourself. Many have tried and failed.
I'll do it. Just tell me what I need to do.
There is a cave. There. And he kind of points off into the jungle. Not far. You can make the journey very quickly. There you will find it. Its true form, rooted, connected to the core of our planet.
And I have to do this alone?
No. You can do this however you see fit. But once the Ancient One has claimed something, it will only give it up for something of equal value. Do you have something as equal as that? And he points to the princess on a silver platter.
I don't know, but I have to try. Will you take care of my friends in case something happens to me?
He looks at all of them. It seems your friends are capable of taking care of themselves. But if you would like for us to entertain them, we can try.
Well, maybe just the unconscious ones. My other ones are pretty capable, and he's got a gun, so feel pretty good about that.
He says, we will watch the large one. He kind of points to the suit.
That just gestures.
Yeah, it's still like,
No, no.
rebooting. I imagine it's that, like, bar, and it's just, like, slowly, so slowly refilling, with just, like, green on black screen. And he says, as for her, would you like us to watch her as well?
No. I have the weird feeling like she needs to be there when we do this.
He says, then, fair travels, Pierce. The last time he told you that was the last time you saw him.
Pierce kind of puts his head down, wipes some of the water from his glasses and straightens them, and starts to walk in the direction with the floating princess, and just kind of turns back and looks at his dad and just says, "Thank you, Dad."
Thank you. He kind of says in a question, these are not herbation terms, but I suspect they are of gratitude.
Love you too, Dad. Pierce walks away.
And as he goes, you hear a couple whisper, and your father says, wait, Pierce.
Yeah?
Love is the herbation way. I, too, love you.
Cactuses can't like blush in a way, but it does look just kind of, it's a little bit of a cactus smile. I will say though, this entire time Pierce is still stuck with like teddy bears, pillows, apple. It's not a good look. It's the worst possible.
At this
way
point, it's mostly on your back where you couldn't reach.
Yeah,
I imagine you couldn't get those
them off
pieces
along
off.
the
Yeah,
trail.
yeah.
We'll
say, for time's sake, it's exactly where your father says. You know, it wasn't unknown to you as a child, that this ancient being resided on your planet, and it's also not unheard of for herbaceous societies and towns to revolve around them because they create a lot of nutrients, they help fertilize the ground and things like that. It's just better to live with those of your kind than it is to try to scamper off and build your own. So that would be nearby. It only takes you a couple minutes to get where you're going. A massive cave. Except this is probably not what you expected when he said cave. Every ounce of rock has been covered by thick vinage. It shoots out of the entrance and has gripped around the sides, creating more of an orifice where it is growing out of. Some of the vines are 2 or 3 foot in density. They kind of shoot out as if you have splayed a mop head around the entrance of this.
Whew. Okay, let's do this. And Pierce raises his head up, fixes his flower, and walks into the cave.
Do we all follow?
Yeah.
I was about to say, I can see Victoria's face. Victoria's thinking. Does Caspia follow?
Caspia at this point, like, Caspia has like a backpack that they grabbed when they left the ship, and at this point they like open it up, they take out their blast vest, they put it on, they take out their holster and their blaster and they put it on, and they're like, all right. They pat it down and then they put their backpack back on.
So last in, behind Pierce and Chim, and the princess on a platter, as you enter this cave, the ground goes from being like mushy, soggy dirt to being dense vines, making it kind of difficult to walk. But it's not hard to find the Ancient One. Simply follow their roots.
Pierce had, before he walked into the cave, had picked up a kind of a medium, like a pretty medium-sized rock, and starts rubbing it on another rock to kind of create this kind of bioluminescence. To kind of like he's got 3 of them, let's say, and just kind of hands them to each.
Yeah.
It kind of gives a faint little bit of light, but enough that you can see a little bit ahead.
They're covered in like an algae, and when you rub it and create energy, they let off this effervescent glow, which allows all of you to see, at least somewhat better than you might have before. Your bask in this neon green glow that only pings off of these green walls as you 3 walk down. And you walk and you walk, and again, 5 or 10 minutes later, you manage to follow this rowing of vines to a massive opening. And you know you've arrived because in the center of the room is what you saw, Caspia. A massive plant-like creature that has rooted itself into the ground. The rest of the roots grow up, vines up and around you in this kind of dome shape. Creates a shelter for it. It is roughly 12 foot across and about 8 foot tall. And currently it's kind of closed up like a bud. You can see. It seems to possibly be in some kind of stasis. You're unsure.
Caspia, why don't you take on that shovel and just go ahead and, take care of it right now?
Just gonna uproot this ancient creature.
We might want to not do that just in case it might hurt the princess.
Oh yeah.
And I'm gonna picture myself to them, just these 2, trying to connect with the Ancient One.
You want to try? Okay.
Yes.
I'm going to make this. Oh. This is going to be I don't know how I want to do this because it's a couple things. So I'm going to have you make a charm check. Okay? This is about the social motions of trying to connect with it. And I'm going to have you make a grit check. Because you're trying to tap into the brain of an ancient creature. Before you were doing it through the mind of the princess. Now you're doing it on your own.
All right. Well, here's my charm.
Okay.
Oh.
Okay. Let's
Okay.
get the grit check. Okay.
Oh.
You try really hard to kind of tap back into what you had before.
Yeah. It's like a hello.
Yeah, you're like, hi, I'm here. There is a voice, I guess you could say, that rings through all the minds of the little sea monkeys who were swimming in a circle, now kind of depart, and they ping around the space in an uneasy way. You nor it are harmed by any means. You make your grit check and are able to bear through it. But having an ancient being actually in their tiny little sea monkey minds is a bit much for some of them. You can see that they're struggling to maintain contact with it. And actually understanding it is rather difficult. Hey, thanks, Party Wide. Appreciate that. Raid, welcome in, Raiders. Just in time to have a chat with an ancient plant. Yeah, and as you try to connect with it, you hear a rumble. The cave walls kind of crumble a little bit, but nothing falls because, of course, all around you are the vines. They do tighten up a little bit, and the space condenses in some, having to push you ever closer towards this big, giant bud. And then something starts to happen. Something kind of peeks along the top and begins to, I say, crawl out of it. It almost unfurls. First one and then a second one. And slowly, this massive bud opens up and flops forward, creating a mouth of some kind. It is lush and beautiful on the inside. And smack dab in the middle is a gorgeous blue flower. It's about this big. It would take both hands to pick it up. It's even in this like green light, which only helps the color, is an effervescent blue. It seems to be organic. There's no doubt about that, but it seems connected to the centralized point of this massive plant mouth that has opened up. And you hear it speak to you. Silly child. Brought her to me, did you?
And I ask it what rituals it misses.
I have never properly done rituals for myself, but I do miss the occasional sacrifice.
Okay, that's a terrifying answer. So, do you have a name? Or do you just want me to call you ancient being who's taken my friend?
That seems long-winded.
Yeah, I thought so too. So what do you got?
What are we? You guys are Herbaceans. The Herbaceans, call me...
Oh, is that a family name or?
But you can simply call me the Biennial.
The biennial?
The Biennial.
Biennial. Okay, biennial. I want my friend back. And I know you don't want to give her up. So what can we do? Let's make a deal.
Do you have?
I have myself. I have, and reaches into his bag, medical bells. I have some bandages, some first aid spray.
He says, no, child. I need something more than your bells.
Like what?
Friendship? You see a picture of two people holding hands.
Oh
looking
my
happy.
god, that's the cutest thing. Make a charm check. When
Did
was the
he
last
brunch?
time somebody offered the Ancient One friendship?
I don't know. I mean, I get why they wouldn't, because the Ancient One just possesses people.
Yeah, the Ancient One's like, this term, I do not understand it. It says, I need a host.
Pierce kind of looks at the flower and kind of looks up at his flower you wanna ride?
He says, "It is not as simple as that. I will give you back your friend, Pierce, if you allow me to plant the next generation of my kind in you."
We just met.
He said, "These are the terms. And when my children have come to full, you will return to her Bexon, and you will act as the new Ancient One. Do you understand?"
Pierce sits with that for a second and looks back at his friends and looks at the princess. Deal.
What about your dreams and all that? Like, why you just gonna make deals? Like, you just left your dad, and you had this whole thing that you want to go follow your dreams, but now you gotta come back, and then you're gonna be stuck here, making sacrifices, and I mean, like, if I know you, and I really don't know you very much, we really didn't have like too many classes together, but like, you like don't hurt nothing, like ever, at least not intentionally. So, why are you just gonna go throw your life away like that?
What if we found it a sentient ship? You picture like a green ship flying around through space.
Pierce listens to their words and takes off one of his gloves and holds his palm out and does the secret Herbation handshake that the Ancient One definitely knows.
Yeah, the Ancient One made it up years
He's
ago.
the one who made it up.
Well, there's a definite like flap flap of plant against plant and a few leaves like.
And Pierce looks back. Pierce looks back at his friends and says, "We better get an A for this."
And he says, "Wonderful. Come, step in and pluck the flower."
Pierce walks over and gets down with the one gloved hand, picks the flower up, and it's a little in there with the roots.
Yeah, it's gonna take a plucking.
And kind of like maneuvers so it doesn't rip all the roots out per se, but just kind of is like, when you're potting a plant, you want to kind of gently take it out. He does it, and then to a point he can't. He just pulls it out.
It releases, and when it does, it sits in both your cacti hands. It's beautiful. It smells of your home planet and everything, like fresh rain and sunshine and a big cumulus cloud. Just everything that makes any plant smile in the spring. The Ancient One says, "Thank you, Pierce." He says, "Give the princess the flower. Now it is your turn." And you see from the ceiling these kind of green buds that were all closed up open, and it rains down these neon green, like glow in the dark spores begin to drop all over Pierce's head. They immediately touch your kind of a hard cactus skin and absorb directly into you.
Ugh.
You have now been pollinated by the Ancient One. I am so tired, Pierce. Thank you for your sacrifice. Remember that this place, her Bexon, it requires one to always exist. Do not fail your people, Pierce. I can only hang on for so long. You have 10 years, and then you must return.
I won't fail you. I won't fail my people.
And you hear it like snaps closed. The vines release a little from the tension of them closing in on you and touch again the exterior of the cave walls. They stay green for now. And you seem free to leave. And you hear the princess like, where are we? What happened?
Pierce sets down the with whatever's left, I guess, of this of the ancient one. Just kind of sets it down, and you're fine now, princess. Everything's fine.
She goes, oh, I know things. Pierce. And she looks like right at you with her beady little princess eyes, and she says, it shared with me things. I can. And she looks around and she goes, where's Bob?
Let's, Pierce just says, come on, I'll show you to him. And just kind of quietly, ahead of everyone, walks ahead out of the cave, kind of with his head down a little bit.
Yeah, and then to the princess, I like brain whisper, he's a god now.
She goes, what? As you guys exit the cave, and on your way out, Pierce, the first one to leave, you see it. The vines that came out of the cave at the ends now slowly begin to curl, withering ever so slowly as they begin to die away. A reminder of your fate many millennia from now. And you make it back to your village. The princess rides on her platter with this massive flower that's about her size. It's multi-layered, kind of the way we would picture a rose, and relatively tall. And she says, I don't know what happened, but thank you. I feel awakened.
Yeah, me too.
She says, She goes, wait a second. We're not late, are we? We have to be on time.
I actually don't have the itinerary in front of me.
Yeah. So, you're like, I don't know, man. Yeah.
Listen, I got princess. I don't. Caspia, do you have the schedule?
Well, it's been like what, 2 days at this point? 1 day?
Mm-hmm.
2 days? And
yeah, it's been about, give or take, not probably 48 full hours yet.
Okay, and we had 14 days. So, like, in my, like...
You had 14 days to complete your mission in totality. You had 3 days to get her there.
Oh, well, we're still on time.
And she's still alive.
And she's still alive. You guys are killing it. You're nailing it.
Waiting!
Oh, and she reaches over and actually puts her little hand on you, Caspian. She says, oh, that's good. We can't be late. If I'm...
Why?
Well,
there's just question marks.
Because it's my birthday, of course.
Oh, and then, like, I picture her and then, like, all these brain waves coming out of her head and, like, connecting with stuff.
Yeah. So when you connect with her this time, there is something new there, Caspia. Whatever the great ancient one shared with her has... It's like the plug was almost in the wall, but now it's fully in. And this connection, this full circle has kind of happened in her. You can feel something moving through her, an energy as you connect with her mind. And she displays back to you a massive party. One with dancing and decorations and a giant ceremony at the end. One where she is lifted up, crowned anew. And you think you see an announcement at the end, though you are unsure.
Mm-hmm.
And she says, you know, I wasn't sure what I was going to wear, but now I have an idea. And she kind of eyes the flower for a while. And the town greets you. Your father simply nods at you, Pierce, as you enter town. And he says, did you find what you were looking for, Pierce?
Pierce, there's a bit of a pregnant pause. And Pierce just says, "Yes, Dad."
I am proud of you, Pierce.
"Yes, Dad."
We will see you soon, Pierce.
I know.
And the town very much lets you all leave. As you arrive on the vessel, you lay Bob out, and the princess goes to her chambers, but only for a short period of time. As the vessel is being completed, loaded, doors closed, gearing up to take off so that you can make your destination, the princess comes out wearing the rose, upside down, as a beautiful blue dress. And she says, "How do I look?"
You look great.
She goes, "Good, because all of you are way underdressed for the party." And that's where we end tonight's episode.
I need to find a tuxedo that fits cactuses.
Yeah, you're all
Yeah.
underdressed for the party. And that's where we'll end tonight's episode. Yeah, she's gonna wear the ancient flower as a dress, because that's just
that's
so
really sensitive.
cute. Here, let me just...
That's so. That's so cute. That's so funny. I love it.
Also, very cool, interesting episode tonight. I was, you know, this was gonna go two directions. You were either gonna slingshot around, and I had some things planned when you slingshot around to the other side of the galaxy. But I was interested that you chose to like go towards home. So this is that was very cool.
Home is where the pain is, and
Home
pain
is
is great
where-
for RPGs.
Yeah, right.
Yep.
Well, let's take a moment, go around. Let's hear from each of you. Tell us how tonight was for you and where we can find you when you're not here being adorable, angsty teens. And you know what? We're going to start with our best kind of worst.
Oh, hi, thank you. My name is Marcus, best kind of worst on Twitter. This is not where I thought the game was going to go. I had some like vague ideas of what my character's backstory was, but like that was kind of fun to develop with you guys. I thought this was fantastic. It was fun. It was sad and fun.
Sad
Yeah.
and fun.
If you want to see any of the stuff that I get up to, other than this, more RPG content, there's a podcast that I'm working on right now called Shattered Sky. You can follow it at Shattered Sky RPG or whatever podcasts are, with Random Tuesday, who you might also know from the internet stuff. This is great. I love these casts, love this crew, and it's almost over.
I know, we got one more. One more. I know, like, everybody's sad faces. Okay, so for the record, it's an ongoing theme here on the dot where I'm like, this is a four campaign, like 4 episode campaign, and it never stays that way. See? No one knows.
We can do Teens
Yeah,
in
sure.
Space extra credit. Like, we can go to college
Extra
together.
credit. What a great idea. Teens in Space extra credit. I love it
Little
so
one
much.
shot.
I love it so much. Oh, that could be your first adventure together.
Oh.
It would be a flashback to your first adventure. Cute.
And then we have to have the reunion later, the high school
Oh
reunion.
yeah,
Oh,
like
my
where are they
God.
now? Sort of.
Yeah.
thing?
extra credit and high school reunion.
Oh my
please,
god.
God.
Oh
Yes.
God, this is so good.
Has to be a thing.
Well, we're
Here,
good.
it's- But if it's the 10-year, Pierce is gonna have to show up in a pot.
I'll Skype it. I'll Skype it.
Or you guys are gonna have to take the party to Pierce.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Have to take them.
Hey,
Well,
I'm their god. They're not going to tell me no.
well, and we got you got a princess now who might have some powers to help you out.
We'll
Who
see.
also
We'll see
likes
where
to
that goes.
party, so
Yeah.
Well, you hadn't seen that yet. The only person that's seen her party is Caspian. That was only through a vision, so. And with her daddy's money behind it, you never know. Never know. All right, Noam, tell us who you are, where we can find you throughout the week.
Hi, my name is Gnome. You can find me on Twitch, Twitter, and Instagram at Nomedic, and I am here on Wednesday nights doing some space stuff with some amazing people. And then I'm on another channel, Unmade Gaming's channel, doing more space stuff, playing a Coriolis game with Dot at the helm once again. And I still fear, I'm just waiting for darkness points to bleed into this game.
You're just waiting for Dot to be like,
it's- I'm just so attuned to Dot. Like, it's an expectation. And it's like, ooh, how is she gonna, oh, cool. Just make Pierce sacrifice himself. Oh, no, it's so sad. Why, Dot? Why?
I mean, there were two
Dot
options
brand.
tonight. Either she was gonna be kidnapped, or she was going to be taken over by an ancient space plant. Those are really the two options I had for today.
Yeah, those are good space options.
Those are good
Yeah.
space options.
Yeah, solid plans there.
And Bob is still rebooting. I'm sure he'll be at 100% next week. Let us hope, of course, both for Cicero's sake and for Bob's sake. Because the last thing he wants to miss is a final dance with the princess. And Victoria, where can we find you throughout the week?
You can find me on Twitter at Mimi Merlot, and you can find me this Saturday at Roll20 Apps Twitch channel as we complete our Fate Till Dawn mini arc, where we are DJs, holographic DJs, battling it out at one of the biggest things ever. It's like a Saturday morning cartoon kind of thing.
It's amazing.
Yeah, we're having a lot of fun with that. You can also find me on the podcast The Broadswords and Friends. You can also check out, I have an adventure in Critical Kiss, which just came out in the Dungeons Masters Guild today. It is Valentine's Day themed, so there are 14 adventures. It's edited by Hannah Carlin. You can go check that out.
Very cool. Very cool.
Yeah.
Awesome. We'll definitely get in the loving mood. Clearly tonight we were full of it. And next week we'll be ever closer both to the Valentine's Day, but hopefully to, fulfilling other hearts. Speaking of hearts, thank you all so much tonight for those of you that followed and resubscribed to the channel. It means so much to us, and it's what helps keep the Dot-Lot going. If you want to help the Dot-Lot continue in other ways, there's everything from Ko-Fi to Patreon. All of our Patreon supporters help make these shows possible. They help me pay my cast. So thank you to every Patreon supporter. And Patreons gain tons of other schwanky things like monthly chats with me, depending on what tier. I'll even run private games for you and your friends. That's how I found Coriolis, for the record. For all of you out there, that was actually a Patreon that was like, I want to play this game. And I was like, cool, I've never seen it before. So I even learned things from all of you. So thank you for the support and being able to allow me to pay my cast so that we can, feed ourselves and our fur babies. Because it's important. And our plant babies. I should say that too. And our plant babies. We are not biased here. All organic life matters. And of course, until next week, we'll be back here, same time, same channel. Until then, you can check me out in a few places, including the North by Northwest podcast. You can check me out on social media where you can keep up with my crazy busy schedule. But most importantly, when I'm not here on Wednesdays, I'm over on Unmade Gaming on Thursdays for a less wholesome, maybe, sci-fi campaign, though I would not say any less drama-filled. And on Saturdays, you can check me out over on my home away from home, the Roll For It Network, where I'm in a Vampire the Masquerade campaign. So come check me out. Go check all these amazing people out. And until next week, go be a good cacti. And remember to always save your friends. Friendship first, gang. Friendship first. Until next week, we're going to go raid another channel. Go share that Dot-Lot love. We're going to go raid, looks like Grimjack is on. So we're going to go raid Grim. Looks like they're playing some RPGs. So go show them all that Dot-Lot love. Until next week. Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Bye. All right, we're raiding. We're raiding.